Hello flight simmers, welcome back to the next flight, and for this one you guys have voted to show the Cologne scenery on the channel, and therefore we are on a flight from Lisbon, where we are sitting right now, over to Cologne. And first of all, thank you guys very much for putting in your vote. I was quite surprised, to be honest, to see Cologne win by such a high margin, but yeah, that's what it is, and I'm very happy to do this flight. And for those guys of you who have missed the poll going on, feel free to check out the community tab over at my channel from time to time, and I will at some point in time put polls up there to see what kind of routes you guys would like to see. And yeah, so this is in a way the first one you guys chose, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. We are flying in a Eurowings, however it's not an Airbus, as you can see. And well, I think most of you guys know that Eurowings is operating an Airbus fleet, but yeah, there are a couple of 737s in Eurowings colors around. This one is one of them, and I didn't quite understand the way it works. I think it's due to some sort of wet lease agreement with TUI Fly. And also this flight right here, we have a Eurowings call sign today, or Eurowings flight number, but it is a TUI flight. So it's a bit confusing, hard to understand, and if any of you guys know a bit more about that, feel free to leave a short explanation in the comments below. I would be super happy to read up on the agreement and why exactly we have now 737s in Eurowings livery. Right, and yeah, that being said, passengers are coming in. You can see around weather is pretty nice, pretty fair weather here at Lisbon. And right, we can jump into the flight deck. Right, so here we are. IRSs are not fully lined yet. I think it should be a few more minutes. Okay, only one more minute. That should be fast. And right, we can start down here. I have entered the route. That's pretty straightforward. Performance should also be rather easy. Today we have a zero fuel weight of 60.8 or 60.9, which is 2 tons shy of max zero fuel weight, and of course on a 2.5 hour flight we are not really maxed out in terms of takeoff weight. So that's all pretty easy. Let's see what they have in store for us today. So cost index, according to the flight plan, is 80, although to be honest 10.18 is more realistic for a low-cost carrier. So actually let's leave it there. Reserves will be 2.4 only. Alternate is Frankfurt, which is quite close. And then initial cruise level is 340. Let's start there, but I'm sure we can climb higher than that. Transition altitude is 4,000 here at Lisbon, like that. And the departure, we are departing on runway 03, which they use most of the times. And then it's the EVGA departure, EVGA for November, this one. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Climbing up to 2,000 feet. At that point we will start the right-hand turn to the first waypoint, where we want to be above 4,000, and then on to EVGA. So pretty much the only thing we want to check is if we can make the altitude for the first waypoint, but we will double check that in a second. Okay, that seems like boarding was pretty fast now. Interesting. So let's close up some doors like that. And yeah, then it's only the performance left. So let's jump over here, initialize the flight performance. Copy FMC data, conditions are dry. And the weather, we have 5 knots of wind variable now from 110, like that. Outside air temperature 19, it's 20. 1015. Let's try takeoff 2. Optimum aircon is on, anti-ice is off. Calculate. Okay, and now we need Takeoff 1. Okay, we are in pounds here, but it shouldn't make any difference. So that's a derate to 1, flap 5, 30 degrees. Derate 1, climb 1, that was 30 degrees. And this gives us 95.1. Whoa, that's really off. 90.2 only. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so 45 will do apparently. 90.9 and takeoff. Flaps 5. And then speeds 145, 46, 52. 145, 146, 152. And these speeds are a bit different. I'm quickly going to do a double check here. Okay, well, I double checked everything and now we're in kilograms, but it's still the same. So apparently that's what we will have. By the way, let's pop on the APU. Okay, so that's our departure. 152 plus 10 makes 162. Initial heading is 026. And initial climb clearance is flight level 060, like that. And then yeah, let's check the altitudes. So 4,000 and above, I think it should be no struggle at all. So 067 at this point. Easy, cool. And yeah, that's all looking good. APU is available. So external power goes off. And then also we can release and release parking brake. And then the PEX 2 auto, recirc fans auto. Looking good. Okay, pre-flight checklist. Oxygen is tested 100%. Navigation, transparent display switches are normal and auto. Window heat is on. Pressurization mode selector is on auto, and this should be 340. In flight instruments, we have heading 081, 081, 1015, 1015. That's checked. Parking brake is set and engine start levers are cut off. Okay, cool, looking good. So those go on. I believe we have some fuel in the center tank. And hydraulics. Beacons. And then we can ask for a pushback. And remove the wheel chocks. Ah, I forgot the wind, did I? Legs, rotator, wind. I mean, it's not too long of a flight, shouldn't make much of a difference. But nevertheless, we should do it. Now it's 4.4. Going to 4.2, so a little bit of headwind. All right, what else? This can come up. This can go off. Let's get the airport map over here. So we will get a pushback the tail to the left and taxi down these taxiways over here. And then 03 is all the way down there. Tail goes to the left. Brakes released. And lock time. Okay, before start checklist, we haven't done that yet. So flight deck doors closed and locked. Fuel, we have 10.7 tons on board. Passenger signs are on. Windows are locked. MCP set, takeoff speed, we have done those. Zero preflight is completed, rudder and alien trim should be 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing, yes, and beacons are on. Okay, so we can start the engines, specs come off, and starting number 2. Now we're waiting for N2 to rise. Ah, it's Qatar. It's always pretty interesting since this runway is not in use, but AI traffic does park aircraft on there, and it's also different ones from time to time. It's super interesting. Oops. Now it's starting, okay. Okay, I think that was the starter 1 cutout, yes. So, generators 1 and 2, APU goes off, APU bleed goes off, packs back to auto, this goes to auto, yaw damper, probes, and right, those go to continuous for the departure. Okay, RTO and trim should be 5.78, so we need to trim it up a bit. Like that roughly. And flaps to position 5. And flight control check. So for left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral and rudder, full left and full right. Checked. Okay, and before text checklist, generators on, probe seeder on, anti-ice is off, isolation of auto, engine start switches are continuous, recall is checked, and auto brake RTO, engine start levers are idle, and flight controls are checked, ground equipment is clear. Checklist completed. Cool. Taxi lights, and we are good to go. Right. Okay, we will already take this right-hand turn over here. And crossing the inactive runway. Yeah, and the PMDG settings, I've turned up the engine sound a bit compared to the last flight. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the difference. Ooh, okay, and now there's, what is this, an Asus, I believe? 321 Neo or something like that. I think he's not gonna wait for us, so we will need to wait for him. Okay, now there's also a TAP A330 in front of us, and so we will have to wait a little bit with our departure. In the meantime, we can complete the before takeoff checklist. Flaps are set at 5, green lights, and stabilizer trim is set before takeoff checklist completed. Okay guys, I think it's gonna take a second. There are also a few aircrafts on the arrival as well, so that's yeah, it's gonna be a few minutes. We'll meet you back in a bit. Okay guys, so that's the A321 speeding up, so we can continue onto the runway. All the lights, strobes, like that, looking good. I love this kind of grass they have installed here for the Lisbon scenery. Something different than we usually get. Okay, let's hold shot for a second just to give him a little bit of space up front. And I believe we are all set for the departure, so we can simply take off. Okay, so starting the timer. Thrust is coming in to around 50%. Power established and toga. And yeah, that's going to be a bit of a takeoff roll. Now the D rate is really kicking in. I hope the EFB is correct in their calculations. It should be. And V1 and rotate. And airborne. Beautiful gears coming up. Very beautiful stuff here. The 737 is always beautiful to fly, although it's like at this point probably the most basic aircraft in the sim, or the most well-known, maybe that's probably a better word. But it's always works, always fun to fly, always nice to have it. So right-hand turn coming up. Okay, and let's put the autopilot on like that. This goes off, this goes off. Flaps 1. And flaps up. And those go back off and taxi lights go off. Cool, easy departure today, and the after takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds are on, packs are auto, landing gear is up and off, and flaps are up, no light. After takeoff checklist completed. Alrighty, it's 4,000 feet, and I believe let's keep it climbing all the way up to cruise. Yeah, that's the transition altitude already. 3-4, and this goes to standard. Cool. So guys, that was pretty easy, and yeah, enjoy the cruise, and I will meet you back for our arrival into Cologne. Enjoy. Hello folks, welcome back. We are descending into Cologne and the airport is pretty much straight ahead now. Somewhere back there, we can't see it yet. And what we will do today is we're gonna land the runway 14 left, gonna be a classy ILS approach. And yeah, technically we're on the Depok arrival route, but I've shortened it a bit. So we go Depok, then to this waypoint, and then we go in a right-hand turn onto the final approach, and usually it's like a big RNAV approach all the way back there, swinging back in. But since there's no traffic around, we can also simply take the shortcut onto the final approach. And yeah, as you can see, beautiful weather here in Cologne. It is now getting a bit hazy, just a little bit, but we can look at the weather together and it is quite beautiful. So now we have winds 3 knots from 150, clear skies, 5 degrees, it's quite cold, and altimeters 1019er. So that's what we are facing. And based on this weather, there's no excuse for a bad landing, so let's see how that works out. We are coming into transition level, and we are anyway descending straight down to 3000, which is the flight slope interception altitude. So let's go local 1019er, and now we have the descent and the approach checklist completed. Now just double checking the speed, it's going to be 141 plus 5 makes it 146. Track required, yeah, we need to monitor it. But I think we are still close enough to the profile. All looking good up to this point. Right, and then once we are on the ground, maybe we can pull up the airport map. That's still the other one, Cologne, here it is, cool. So 1 for left, that's this one, and then there's basically only one high-speed exit down here which we want to take. And I've selected auto brake 2. I think this is a pretty long way. Total runway length is almost 4 kilometers, so we should easily make it by this point. And yeah, then we need to track back a little bit, and terminals all the way back here. And yeah, Cologne, for those of you guys who know it a bit, also quite big in terms of cargo operations. All this area here is basically cargo and mainly UPS. And there are also quite some serious long-haul flights in terms of cargo operations in and out of Cologne, for example. Yeah, over to the US, to Memphis, to Indianapolis, but also Hong Kong, and these famous cargo hubs in the world. So yeah, maybe we will see Cologne again with a cargo operation, but no promises, of course, at this point. And now let's see, yeah, it's getting a bit laggy. I don't know, but lately, whenever I'm doing some flights, after a couple of hours into the flight, it gets a bit laggy. No idea where's that coming from. But I mean, it's okay, we can handle. Right, that's wow, now what's the word in English? The Dome, as it's called in German, Kölner Dom. Famous church. Right. Ah, there's some traffic over there. Ah, this one. Okay, so he's on the final. Okay, he's climbing, so whatever he's doing, he should not be in our way. But let's see. Okay, from Lekdu, it's not going to be that far to go. So from Lekdu, it's 9.8 miles left, which means we want to start setting the flaps before we get there. Right, and in the meantime we can switch those to continuous landing elevation is set, 300 feet. And yeah, all looking good so far. So let's start this up to final heading 136. Looking good. He's 10 miles ahead of us, almost touching down, so I believe we should be fine in terms of spacing. And yeah, let's go flaps 1. We can see the aircraft wants to slow down. The reason is I've set 170 for this waypoint. So flaps 2. And then I believe we will also need flaps 5. So flaps 5. And we can arm approach mode. And I was just noticing the Cologne airport comes with quite an extensive photoreal coverage area here. We can nicely see the border between photoreal and standard ORBX. But it looks quite nice, I have to admit. And that should be localizer and flight slope. Are we capturing it or not? Ah, there we go. Okay. I was just thinking maybe we are shooting straight through, but now we managed to capture it. Right. Okay. So. Once again, we don't get a reading here. I don't know why it always happens on the 737. Super annoying. No idea. But we're pretty close. Not much more than 5 miles to go. So let's slow down now. 146. And we can also drop the gear. Flaps 30 and then 40 in just a second. Arming the speed brakes. And flaps full. Cool. Let's take the auto throttle and landing checklist. Engine start switches are continuous, speed brakes are armed, landing gear is down, and flaps are 40. Green lights. Landing checklist completed. Okay, let's see if we can get a good landing here. So my aircraft. Also I should set some more lights like this. Okay, so there's an aircraft straight ahead. I believe, yeah, he's about to take off, so we should be fine. Yeah, pretty tight spacing, but I think that's still within the limits.
200, approaching minimums. Minimums.
Continue.
$50, $40, $30, $20, $10.
And touchdown. Reverse. Cool. Idle forward, manual braking. Perfect. That was quite a nice landing. No flare, no hard touchdown, just as it's supposed to be. We don't get this all the time, so I'm quite happy with it. So, and here we are in Cologne, flight time for 2:38. Already starting a bit of cleanup. And yes, I think this exit is good for us. I'm not quite sure if they would allow to take the crossing runway as an exit. Probably depends on if it's active or not. Alright, so transponder comes back to standby, and then traffic, terrain, and yeah, let's do the other side in a second. Right, so there in the distance, we already can see the UPS lineup. Pretty awesome. Okay, let's quickly finish the cleanup and then we can ask for GSX, and then I can also fast forward the taxi a bit. So those come off, traffic, weather. And yeah, then the lights, of course, and turn offs as well. This goes to steady. Right. Wow, I love how they put the grass onto the taxiway here. There as well. Looks pretty cool. Okay, now in terms of parking, let's see what they have in store for us. I think Bravo is good, and then Bravo 12, that should work. German wings, yes. Yeah, I think they would probably want us to taxi on the outer taxiway and not be messing with the cargo operations over here, but it was like the shortest route to take, so yeah, that's why we took it today. And now the parking should be straight ahead. There it is. And I'm not sure what the official way into our parking would be, but it's one big apron here, so let's do the direct way. And right, this is ours. Taxi lights, APU's running in the meantime. And yeah, these gates or these parking positions are quite weird since they are at the terminal, but for some reason there are no jetways here. Pretty interesting. Jetways over there and also off to the left hand side, but not on these center ones. Okay, looks pretty accurate to me. And so there we are, cool. So parking brake, APU generators 2 on, APU bleed on, and then we can kill the engines. 1 and 2, clock time 3:02, and the fuel pumps, seat belts, beacons. And this goes to open. Packs can stay on for the moment. And propeats come off. hydraulics. Alrighty, and the shutdown checklist. Fuel pumps are off, prop heat is off, hydraulic panel is set, flaps are up, parking brake is set, engine start switches are cut off, and weather radar is off. Cool, all done. So FS actions, ground services, wheel shocks, ground power, and we will ask for deboarding. And then we probably need some doors as well, so forward and after entry, and also the cargo doors like that. So, and here we are, guys, just as this Egypt Air cargo is taxiing for the takeoff. And yeah, on that view, welcome once again to Cologne. I am super happy that you guys have voted for this airport. I haven't used it before on the sim, and yeah, it looks quite good to me. I think it's not exactly the newest rendition of Aerosoft, but sees even some smoke stacks over there. UPS aircraft, some static aircraft. Yeah, that's a pretty awesome scenery in my opinion. And yeah, maybe we will come back for a cargo flight pretty soon. Also, the huge coverage area is quite impressive, and I think in the configurator I even saw an option to make these ground textures even more crisper than they are already. So yeah, super happy with this one. Let's see what's coming into land here. Eurowings A319 probably. And yeah, where's our aircraft? There it is. Right, guys, so thanks again for joining me on this flight. And now we will watch the A319 land. Yeah, I think we had a better touchdown than this guy. And right, thank you very much for joining. Hope to see you next time as well, and take care. Bye bye.